Hello, everyone. My name is Chloe, and welcome to the Booktube Chicks Book Club discussion for June. This month, we are discussing The Fortunes of Jaded Women by Carolyn Huynh. I can't remember off the top of my head. And unfortunately, I don't have a copy of the book to show you. As usual, I am here with my amazing co host, Kathleen, who's going to introduce herself in just a moment. But if you've never been to one of our live shows before, the way it's going to work is generally for the first 5 to 10 minutes, we have a spoiler free discussion of just our overall thoughts and our rating. And then we go into a more spoiler discussion. So, Kat, if you would like to go ahead and start.
Yes. Hi, I'm Kathleen. My channel's for the love of books, not that I post anymore. Um, this was Chloe's pick for this month. It's all about family dynamic and cultural experiences. This is following I believe it's a Vietnamese family. And it's basically a family who's been cursed, or they believe they've been cursed into only having girls in their family. Every pregnancy, and that it's all girls, and it's it's basically centered around a family, 3 sisters, and their daughters, and how they interact, and really don't talk to each other. There's a lot of chaos and a lot of drama within this family, and it's all centered around this curse, and how to break the curse of finally having a boy into the family. It talks about a lot of different things. It touches upon, obviously, their culture, and it touches a little bit upon racism, and I enjoyed it. I thought the family dynamic was interesting to read from. um, I grew up in a very, very different household from them. They're very superstitious, I guess you could say, but again, it's all part of the culture. um, and I did enjoy the book, but for me personally, it's just not my cup of tea. It's not the type of book I like to read. So while I did enjoy many aspects of the book, just feel like it didn't really resonate with me. It was entertaining to read, but it's not a book that I will go on to speak about in the future. It's not a book that I will remember past next week or even today. I did give it 3 stars. It's really between a 3 and 3.5, just because, again, I did like some aspects. I did enjoy some parts. But overall, I think for me personally, it's just a book that I'm not going to think about past today. So, again, overall, it's just a 3-star book for me.
And my name is Chloe. You're on my channel. So a couple months ago, or when we were picking books, I don't know why it didn't strike me to be like, Chloe, you should start putting picks that you have on your review list into the running. So that's the whole reason why this book even ended up in the running, is because I have it from the Libro FMALC program, and I try to be really good and write reviews for all of those books. And this is one for me that is a really good example of great concept but poor execution. Not even necessarily a poor execution, just poor execution for me personally. Um, I just I I think between this month and last month, what we've really learned is Chloe is not a fan of literary fiction. I need to stop reading them thinking I'm gonna like them. Because I really liked the synopsis of this book, but ultimately it didn't work out for me. And I think a lot of it has to do with how many freaking characters we are following in this book. Um, because this is a huge family, and even though ultimately there's 3 sisters and then their children, there's just so much going on in this book that it was really hard to follow. Um, so I guess let's just jump right into spoilers. I'd like to. Did you listen with and then also read it? I feel like this is a book that really would have benefited from um a cast of narrators, as opposed to just one person doing all these bunches of characters.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm
I
sure the author wanted someone who's more of a diverse narrator. So
oh, yeah.
I don't know how many Vietnamese narrators there are.
That's
If I don't
something.
even know if the narrator is Vietnamese, but just in general, I don't know how many available. And I'm assuming a full cast might be, I don't know how much budget, how well this book
Yeah.
did when it first sold. I'm assuming a full cast is a little more expensive to produce as an audiobook. But I agree with you because of the many characters, this definitely would have benefited from a full cast of characters
And
or cast of narrators.
even with just the one narrator, I kind of wish they had done a little bit of differentiation in voices, just so we had some idea better of who we were following.
Yeah,
When it comes to books like this, some other examples are the Vera Wong series by Jesse Q. Sutanto, the Tita Rosie Kitchen Mysteries by Mia P. Manansala. Books like that, where we know this character is from another country, or there's going to be a lot of words that I don't understand or don't know the pronunciation of. I love doing audiobooks for those because of the accent, and the narration is just so good. Which is one of the reasons why I was totally here for an audiobook for this, because it really helps with the pronunciation for me. Um, I feel like this book had just a lot of like not memorable moments for me. Um,
yeah,
which sucks for like a discussion like this, because it makes it hard to remember. Um, and then when I went on to Goodreads, because I was like, this is totally a literary fiction, this is why I don't like it. When I went on to Goodreads, Goodreads also has it listed as a fantasy. And I'm like, kiss
I
my butt.
guess.
No, it's not.
I guess because of the curse, somebody may have marked it as fantasy, even though at the end we found out it's not, there was no curse to begin
Yeah.
with. So I could see the confusion, but yeah, I very much agree. Even if it was the curse was a real thing, I feel like that would be more like magical realism, not necessarily fantasy. Maybe I don't know. I feel like fantasy is a big stretch.
Yeah, because the top one, two, three, four, five, the top five genre tags on this book on Goodreads are fiction, contemporary, magical realism,
Yeah,
audiobook, and then fantasy. I'm like, I can get behind magical realism. I will 1,000% back that up totally, but definitely not fantasy in my opinion.
yeah,
Maybe like the magical realism elements I would take as the bits at the end, um where it's with the matriarch who passed away, um who she can't get to her. I can't remember what it was called, like uh all I can think about is the movie Coco, which is not even the same culture, but I don't know what to call it, but they pointed out multiple times in the book that only males can invite ancestors into their homes or something like that. So I don't know where I was going with that, but
yeah. Um, yeah.
um, and then let me find my review again here. I guess I kind of took notes just because I wrote the review, so that counts. I feel like, and I kind of want to know if your opinion is the same. If this wasn't for book club, I would have DNF'd it.
Uh, it's hard for me to DNF things because I'm like, I have this thing where I have to complete things. So I think in my entire lifetime, I think I've only DNF'd like 5 books. And that's because those were books that I tried to like read multiple times. Like I would read, then put it down for months on end, and I would restart it, and
Mhm.
then I would put it down again. And I've done it like 5 times. So those books would be ones that I've DNF'd, but I would definitely force myself to to read this. I would not DNF just because I know that I can. It's hard for me to DNF books.
I am a huge proponent of DNFing. I don't think I do it as much as I did like 5 years ago, but for me, there's like DNF where I'm like, screw this, I'm not picking it back up. But there's also for me, like, I want to read this, just it's not the right time to read
The
it.
thing is, also for me, I understand the whole point of DNFing, like, people are like, "You only live once, why would you waste time reading a book you don't wanna read anymore?" And I totally agree with that, but
Mhm.
I've also read books where the entire book was garbage, and then the ending actually made me change my mind on the book. I can't think of an example right now, but I know that that has happened before where I just hated the book throughout, and then it got to, like, the last couple of chapters, like the last 10% of the book, and it was amazing, and it made me rethink my whole opinion on the book up until that moment. So that's why also I cannot DNF books because I know in the past it has happened where I ended up really liking a book just because of the ending.
I think that oh, excuse me, hold on. Kind of talking about the ending. I did like the ending of this book. I think that there was a lot of healing that most of these characters had to go through. Um, can I tell you the ending? No. But I remember in the moment, like, yeah, that's a fine ending.
Yeah.
Um, also,
It was I think it brought a lot of closure. I mean, in the ending, we found out there's not really a curse.
mm,
The boy that everybody thought that that pregnant girl was gonna have was turned out to be a girl, and
mhm.
then I feel like they accepted the fact that their family is just gonna be full and full of girls, and there's not gonna really be this boy. And I mean, I get it. It's in the culture where it's in the age, especially East Asian culture, where boys are just necessarily preferred. Um, and I just hate, even me being Asian, I hate that whole part of that side of that culture of East Asian culture, where they just prefer boys in general. But I am glad that that family did not have a boy because I feel like that child would have so much expectation on his
Mhm.
shoulders, and I feel like that any other child that came after him, especially any girls, that child will be so freaking neglected. And I am happy that there was no boy that was born to that family, at least up until that moment where that child
It just
was
would have
born.
been generations of
Yeah.
expectations
And I
just
think with
suddenly
that,
laid.
when that daughter went to talk to the witch or whatever, I think the witch mentioned that there wasn't really going to be a girl or a boy that was gonna be born. There was I think she said that your daughter is gonna have more girls and her daughters are gonna have more girls or something like that. I don't remember. I don't know if you mentioned that there was actually going to be a boy at some point that was gonna be
I feel like
born.
she said, like, there will be a boy, but you have to wait, like, a really long time.
Yeah.
Um, excuse me. Um, so I have for one of my reading challenges, one of the prompts is to read a book that is considered healing fiction, and I have no idea what that is. I have Googled it multiple times, and I think it's supposed to be like a feel good book or like a book that it like
I think this would be considered a healing book.
I counted it because I was like, "You know what? This family had a lot of healing. They still have a
Yeah.
lot of healing to
'Cause
do."
there was a lot of drama in the family,
Yes.
and I get it all started of this non-existent curse, and, they started off the book with where they have not talked to each other for a long time, and it ended with the book where they just accepted each other
Mhm.
and accepted their family dynamic and the fact that they're not gonna have a boy, that they're gonna just be a family filled with daughters. So I would consider this a healing book because
Oh,
it
yeah.
did have really nice closure for the family members itself.
See, and I felt that because I had to read this book and because I didn't like it, it should count for something. So I made it count for something. Um, I did like the representation of this large Vietnamese family, and we saw a lot of different aspects of the family being portrayed here. Um, and like the one thing that's standing out to me most is the cafe that's only like a sort of cafe, and then also the nail salon that like all the daughters work at.
That's so stereotypical, but
Yeah.
okay.
But then wasn't it that whoever owns the nail salon finally like let the daughters branch out or something like that? She kind
I
of
think,
like loosened the leash for lack of a better term.
yeah. And I think there's so many stereotypes in this book, but I do like that they mentioned that the daughter that lives in the United States, they call her Americanized. And even at the end, when they were talking about the little baby that was born, they were like, "Oh, she's gonna do this and she's gonna do that and she's gonna go study." And then the mom was like, "She's gonna do whatever she wants to." And they were like, "That's such an American response," or something like that.
I
And I'm
mean,
like, I found out that was very funny because there is like a lot of family who sees it that way, who sees like their extended family who lives in another country as them being part of that culture, no longer of the culture that they were born in, essentially.
does your family see it that way?
My sister calls me very, very
Your
calls me
your sister lives
Americanized.
here too.
Yeah, but my sister, when we moved to the States, my sister was 16, so she was already pretty much grew
Mm.
up in Brazil. I was 8, 6 or 7, something like that. So I was very much
She was more
very
ingrained in
young,
it
and
than you were.
I very young, and I grew up almost pretty much here. So the most pivotal points of my life were here. So
Mhm. She's more ingrained in the Brazilian culture.
yeah.
Uh, but isn't this book set in California? Because my understanding was it was in the because I read the synopsis. It's in Orange County's Little Zion, which is in California.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of the family is in California, but maybe like the older ones consider the younger ones more Americanized.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Want to briefly talk about the grandma, somebody who got remarried in their 60s or something like that. Was that
I
the
mean,
was that the person that they needed somebody so they could become a citizen? Because I remember there was somebody was offering to pay like $10,000 or $50,000 for 5 years of marriage.
that's hilarious. I don't remember if that was her or not.
I don't remember
Was
either,
it?
but they fell in love, I think. So I thought that was super cute.
That's funny.
And the one guy who wasn't Vietnamese, he was Korean. Was like, "Well, do I get a cut of this?" And the other lady was like, "Not for $50,000."
I remember. Uh, there were great moments in this book. It wasn't necessarily my cup of tea.
I agree. I think it had little moments sprinkled here and there that were enjoyable, but I just next time I try and suggest a literary fiction, please tell me no.
Yeah, but personally, I've enjoyed the book. You haven't enjoyed the literary fiction books that we've read
Yeah,
together, but I have.
I feel like I'd have to look at the spreadsheet, but I feel like we've had some like range this year as far as like what we've been reading. This is the third book that we've read by an Asian author in the past six months. So
Mm,
that's
okay.
pretty good. I feel like I picked a literary fiction for August too. Oh God.
Wait, what is August?
Meredith Alone. I don't know if that's I need to look that up. I don't actually know if that's literary fiction or not.
You said you have to review these books. That's why do you keep accepting
Here's
these review books?
here's the thing. Libro FM is very tempting. And I've actually gotten way better recently, where the past couple months I'm like, I'm only kind of picking things I'm actually interested in or like I recognize the cover. Desiree will send me like other links to ones and she's like, "What about this one? What about this one?" And I'm like, "Nope, I'm not doing it. Hard pass. I'm not taking anything else that I can't that I'm not like really interested in and excited about." Meredith Alone is marked as fiction, contemporary, mental health, audiobook, chick lit. And
Yeah,
the
that
one
sounds like a literary fiction.
and the one random one that says Scotland.
What's the rating on it?
It has a higher average rating than this. It's a 4.04. This one
Okay.
has a 3.63.
Okay.
Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to point out. This book obviously has an audience. I'm not that audience.
I think the reason why I chose this book out of your two picks was the page number was a huge factor. It's a
Yeah,
short book,
yeah.
even though it felt really long.
I finished it in 4 days.
Uh, and then what else? I don't remember. I think I just like the synopsis better than the other one, but the page number was the big contributing factor.
Okay, I was like, I wonder what the other choice was. I just found it. The other choice was a book I actually just unhauled, and it's This Time It's Real by Anne Liang, which was
Okay.
like it was like an extra 100 pages.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. Was there anything else you want to discuss with this book? I know we're only at 21 minutes, but I don't know,
Oh,
maybe we can find something for another couple minutes.
Um, I don't really have anything to say. I
This family's
This is
messy.
horrible because I just finished reading this book like a couple hours ago and yeah.
I finished like 3 books since finishing this book, so it's okay. I remember the day that I told you I finished this, or maybe I told you something about this book, and you were like, "What did you rate it?" And I was like, 2, and you were like, "Oh." And I was like, "Well, I gave another book 5 stars today, so, it's all about balance."
Well, I only said oh because I was like, great, I might not enjoy this book either.
That's why I
Although
try not to, like, influence you, but I'm like, I need to know your thoughts, even though we're gonna have a whole discussion about it here.
okay, I mean we can move to find closing
Oh, no, hold on, I have one more thing.
thoughts.
Um, the only way that I was able to differentiate some of these characters, not by name, is purely by, like, personality. Like, I could tell, like, okay, these are the older ones, that the women that are in their 50s and 60s. Oh, okay, these are the children, the ones that
Yeah.
are in their 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
Just because of different personality aspects and how they acted.
Yeah.
That was my one
Yeah,
thing.
because the names were obviously Vietnamese, so because we're not used to Vietnamese names, I definitely remember the characters by their personality traits, what the situation they were in, not
Mhm.
necessarily by their names. And I know that's horrible to say, but yeah,
Yeah. But that's another reason why I like the audiobook is for the pronunciation of the names.
right. Hmm.
You should really read, um, and I'm only thinking about this because of the Asian culture of the book as well. The Vera Wong book, uh,
Hmm.
Vera Wong's, I can't remember, uh, Unsolicited Guide to Murder, I think is what it's called. That author,
Is there
I
actually murder in it?
yes, and
Really?
a second book came out recently. I haven't read it yet, and there's a third book being written. That author writes a lot. You might have read Jessie Cusitanto before. She writes
Yeah.
thrillers as well.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a big range, and she also writes a little bit of romance too. But her Vera Wong book is really funny. And she said that Vera is actually based off of her mother. So you should read that book. It's really good. um, I did like I liked that we had this large Vietnamese family that we're following. The representation, as far as I know, was done well. I liked the different cultural aspects that were portrayed. Um, but yeah, I don't really got much with this book just because I didn't like it.
And also, just mentioning the curse, I like that the whole thing about the curse started because it was a bitter mother-in-law.
Yes,
I'm
because
just like,
somebody
it's
got
all,
divorced.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
always the bitter mother-in-laws getting way too involved in their son lives. Like, like we need to take a chill pill. Um, but yeah. So, I guess for me, I like the book. But it didn't resonate with me. It's not a book I'll ever pick up again. It's not a book I will think about later. There were fun moments in the book. there were moments I really liked the whole, especially the ending when they do reconcile. There's this beautiful closure, and the baby turns out to be a girl. I did like that as well. Um, so I did give it 3 stars. I'll probably keep it at 3 stars. Will I read another book by this author? I'll consider it. That's it.
I gave this book 2 stars. I know this was my pick, but if it wasn't for this book club, I probably wouldn't have finished it. It's for me, it was the synopsis sounded great concept, but to me, the execution did not work. There are a ton of characters you need to follow, and it's very hard to keep up with them. And if you're someone like me who I'm not a huge note taker while writing or while reading books, but I'm also like I I don't how do I explain this? I don't have time to like sit down and write down every single character and every single little bit about them just to be able to keep them straight. Sometimes I just want to read a book just to read a book, like just for the vibes. Um, and this is a book that I feel like I would have needed notes just to understand who was who. So I'm giving it 2 stars. This book wasn't for me. Literary fiction as a whole isn't for me. I need to stop picking it. Um, and I just I just didn't have a good time overall. But the representation was great in my opinion, and I think that is something to be noted. This book has an audience. I'm not part of it. Okay, so let us discuss July. I can't believe we're in July. We're about to be. I'm actually really excited for this book, and I'm so glad that you picked it. We are going to be reading We Could Be Magic by Marissa Meyer, which is actually a graphic novel. Um, and I was actually lucky enough to have a NetGalley arc of this, and I'm so excited to discuss it with you. For those that are fans of Disney, this is the book for you for the background, like the behind the scenes stuff that goes into a theme park. Even though it's a fiction book, it's so much fun, and I'm so excited to read and discuss this with you. We are going to be discussing this on Sunday, July 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern on this channel. If you are on Instagram, make sure you follow us at Booktube Chicks for all the information and updates regarding this live show. We have a couple things coming up besides this. So linked in the description below is going to be Kat's channel. I didn't write down the date. Oh no. I think it was the 11th. July 11th is when we're meeting. Okay. Pages and Pals is going to be on July 11th at 8 p.m. That is just an hour of silent reading time with pals. Whatever you're currently reading, bring it to the live. Talk with us in the chat. We're going to be doing some reading over on Kat's channel, linked in the description below. That's also going to be on Instagram as well. And then if you're a fan of romance books, the Quarterly Romance Book Club is about to be picking up our Q3 pick. We're going to be reading Gigi Listening by Chantel Guillertin. Somebody was, did you hear that? Fireworks already, jeez. We're going to be reading Gigi Listening by Chantel Guillertin, and our live show for that will be on Desiree's channel, which is on August 3rd. At 6 p.m. I believe we are going to have Gigi from Books After Cafecito as a guest that month as well. And then our live show for We Could Be Magic will be on the 27th of July. So thank you all so much for joining us. We hope to see you back to discuss We Could Be Magic. And that is all we have for us. So have a good night. We'll see you next time. Bye.